I am genuinely glad I'm living in the same timeline where massive Hollywood slot movies are starting to underperform at the box office, while indie horror movies made by YouTubers with actual passion are coming out of nowhere and shocking everybody. Because for the longest time, Hollywood has been acting like audiences will just eat up anything they throw at us. Another reboot or some stupid sequel literally nobody asked for in the first place. But now we're starting to see something different happen. Over the course of May and now bleeding into June, movies like Obsession and The Backrooms completely took theaters by surprise. These were not just tiny little indie movies that a few horror fans went to see. No, these were movies that were selling out theaters. They were getting people off of TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, literally you name it, any single social media platform, and they were putting people into actual movie seats. And that alone is absolutely insane because nowadays it feels like most people wait for everything to hit streaming. So when a movie is strong enough to make people say, I actually need to go see this in theaters, that means something. And I saw that firsthand with the movie Obsession. So, I went to see it the second week it was out in theaters with some of my friends. We pulled up to Regal and bought tickets for the 9:20 p.m. showing, but knowing us, brother, of course we showed up late, and by the time we actually got there, the movie was already like a quarter of the way done. And when I saw the movie was a quarter way done, I also looked to my left because, the entrance was on the right, and I was like, damn, this entire theater is packed. And I'm talking about packed. Like you could feel the energy in the room. Then we walked back out into the hallway and there were still people lined up waiting to buy tickets for the next showing, which was at 11:20 p.m. at night. Now, yes, it was, a Friday night, so obviously you expect more people to be at the movie theaters than usual, but still, this felt completely different. Like, I go to the movies all the time. Like, I'm at the theater at least 2 or 3 times or maybe 4 times a month, basically almost every weekend. And I have not seen the last showing of the night look that packed in a long time, especially on a weekend. Now, the parking lot was completely full, like the kind of full where if you wanted a parking spot, you had to park in the sushi restaurant lot next door and just hope nobody says nothing. And that's how crazy it was. And also, this was not for some mega $1 million movie. This was for an indie horror movie that people actually wanted to support. Now, I know people might say, well, wasn't that also the first weekend of Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu? And, yes, it was. That movie was also out, and sure, that probably helped bring people to the theater in general, but the difference is Obsession was the movie that felt like it had actual momentum. And when you look at the numbers, it gets even crazier. As I'm recording this, The Mandalorian and Grogu is sitting at around $250 million worldwide, while Obsession is sitting at around $140 million worldwide. Now, on paper, some people might look at this and say, well, obviously, Star Wars made more money, but that's not the real story here. The real story and the thing that actually matters is the profit margin. Think about it like this. Obsession didn't just make its budget back, it made back an absurd amount of its budget. We're talking around 20,000%. Not 20% and not 200%, but they made back 20,000% of their budget. Meanwhile, the Star Wars film made around 50%, only 50% at the time I'm recording this, versus 20,000% that Obsession made. Like, bro, what in the world? I genuinely have never seen anything like this before. My mind is completely boggled. Like, they done darn boggled me mind, matey. And then, as if Obsession wasn't already enough, The Backrooms comes out and then opens with a $80 million opening weekend. Like, what the hell are we witnessing right now? Like, genuinely, what is going on? A movie based on a concept that started on the internet, built by a young creator who began on YouTube, is now standing next to major Hollywood releases and embarrassing them. And let's talk about Kane Parsons for a second. This dude started this whole thing on YouTube. He's also not some 40-year-old Hollywood veteran who's been doing this for his entire life. Like, he's one of the youngest producers to break a world record like this. Same thing with Curry Barker. He started out making horror short films and sketch comedy on YouTube. He has built his audience by actually making stuff, not by being handed an IP. He just made things, improved, built a voice, and now look where he is. That's why the whole moment feels bigger than just 2 horror movies doing well. This feels like a shift. Like we're entering a new era of film where younger creators are starting to take matters into their own hands because, we're tired of consuming this garbage slop made by giant corporations that are only trying to make a quick buck. Because there's a difference between a movie that is made with passion and a movie that is made to fill a release calendar. That's why indie horror is winning right now. Horror is one of the few genres where you don't need $200 million to make something great. You just need a strong idea and a filmmaker who actually understands what he's doing and actually cares. And if you are a frequent viewer of my channel, you already know that I completely love horror. And I'm not just saying this because these movies are trendy right now. I genuinely love when horror takes risks. And I love a movie that actually affects me after I leave the theater. Like when I watched Obsession, I have not felt that scared in such a long time. Like I mean this when I say it, I genuinely had that feeling where it was so hard to sleep at night because I thought that Nikki was watching me while I was sleeping. Like I am not lying whatsoever. Like the last time I remember feeling something like that was when I first watched A Nightmare on Elm Street as a kid for the first time. Like that's the kind of horror I miss. Like horror that doesn't just scare you in the theater, but sits in the back of your mind randomly when you're doing something or turning off the lights at night. Obsession had that effect on me. They leaned heavily into the psychological horror aspect that genuinely leaves a mark. It had this lingering dread that made the whole movie feel uncomfortable in the best way possible. And then you have The Backrooms, which is a completely different kind of movie. The Backrooms did not just scare me in the same way Obsession did, and I wasn't walking out of that movie, checking behind me. But what it did was mess with my head, and it made me actually have to use my brain for once to understand what's going on. And that's exactly why I liked it. The Backrooms was not trying to spoon feed me everything, and it trusted the audience to sit with the mystery. And it also trusted people to think. Now, I know that might sound simple, but in modern Hollywood, that's actually rare. A lot of the movies now are terrified of ambiguity. They don't want the audience to leave with questions. They want everything explained and already ready for the sequel. But the Backrooms understood that the mystery is the whole entire point. The second you over-explain the Backrooms, you kill what makes it scary. It is not scary because we understand it. It is scary because we don't. And that's why I don't think Obsession and the Backrooms need to be compared like one has to be better than the other. They are both horror movies, but they are completely different in different things. And I think Hollywood needs to wake up and realize this. People are not tired of cinema. They are tired of being treated like idiots when they're watching film. And that's why this moment is so exciting for me, because for the first time in a while, it seems like the audience is sending a message. We're not just going to show up for a big logo anymore like Star Wars. We're not just going to support something because it has a famous franchise slapped on it. If the movie looks lazy, people are just going to skip it. It's that plain and simple. But if the movie looks fresh and interesting or made with actual passion and it has this insane word of mouth, people will show up. And that should be terrifying for Hollywood, but exciting for literally everybody else, because it means the door is opening for new voices. Like, dude, you don't know how happy I was to watch Obsession and The Backrooms with none of the actors I knew who they were at all. Like, that is so refreshing. Like, dude, half of the movies that came out this year, or probably majority of the movies that came out this year, are filled with S-tier celebrities that have been in every single movie this year. Like, dude, that is, I mean, still, I love, these actors are really good actors. I'm not saying that those actors that are in these movies are bad, but I mean, like, dude, I'm just so tired of seeing them over and over and over again. And personally, I hope that this is only the beginning. I hope studios like A24, well, A24 is already doing this right now, but other studios actually take risks on these insane movies. Because if this past month has proven anything, it's that audiences are still here. We still love going to movies, and we still love original ideas. And we just want movies that feel like they were made by humans, and right now, indie horror is giving us exactly that.